They said the city could never fall. They said the temple of God would stand until the end of time. But in the summer of 70 AD, fire consumed Jerusalem, and Rome revealed a secret weapon so terrifying, so unstoppable, that it crushed one of the most defiant rebellions the empire had ever faced. The question is, how did the most sacred city in the ancient world collapse into smoke and blood? And what price was paid for Rome's victory? It begins with desperation. For years, Judea had simmered with rebellion. Rome's taxes were crushing, its governors corrupt, its legions brutal. The Jewish people, proud and unbreakable, dreamed of freedom. And then, in 66 AD, the dream exploded. They rose in open revolt, slaughtering Roman soldiers, burning garrisons, seizing Jerusalem itself. For a moment, it seemed Rome had been humbled. But Rome never forgets, and Rome never forgives. But what the rebels didn't know was that Rome had already decided their fate. Vespasian, a hardened general, was sent to Judea with legions from Syria and Egypt. He fought not with haste but with patience, crushing towns one by one, choking off the countryside, isolating Jerusalem like a beast in a cage. And then, when civil war broke out in Rome itself and Vespasian was proclaimed emperor, command of the siege passed to his son, Titus. Young, ambitious, eager to prove himself. And Titus came armed not just with soldiers, but with a weapon that would turn the city's hope into ash. Imagine the sight. 4 Roman legions, nearly 70,000 men, marching on Jerusalem. Their armor gleamed, their standards snapped in the wind. Inside the city, chaos ruled. Zealots fought among themselves for power, burning food stores rather than sharing them. Starvation stalked the streets, and still, they swore the temple would never fall. And then, tragedy struck. Titus ordered a wall built, a wall around the walls of Jerusalem. Every road, every path, every escape sealed shut. No food could enter, no desperate soul could flee. The people of Jerusalem were trapped, and as the days passed, the city began to devour itself. Mothers searched the gutters for scraps. Fathers sold their last possessions for a handful of grain, and the screams of hunger rose night after night. But the real secret was still buried. The Romans were not just relying on starvation. They had brought with them a machine, perfected through years of conquest, the siege engine. Towering wooden monsters, taller than the walls themselves, rolling forward under the protection of iron plates and wet hides to resist fire. From within, archers unleashed storms of arrows, and behind them, the great Roman catapults, onagers, and ballistae hurled stones the size of oxen into the city, shaking the earth with every strike. Imagine hiding in your home, and suddenly the roof explodes above you, the air filled with dust, screams, and falling stone. Day after day, week after week, the engines pounded Jerusalem. What would you have done in that moment? Surrender, fight to the last, or pray for a miracle? Inside, the defenders fought back with desperation. They hurled stones, shot arrows, even poured boiling oil down on Roman soldiers. More than once, the rebels set the siege towers on fire, and for a brief moment, the crowd cheered. But Titus rebuilt, stronger, closer. And every time the Romans lost ground, they returned with more fury. But what they didn't know was that their greatest test was yet to come. The walls of Jerusalem were not 1, but 3. Layer upon layer of stone defenses, built to withstand generations of invaders. Titus knew he couldn't take the city in one blow. So he advanced step by bloody step. The first wall collapsed under Roman battering rams. Then the second. Each time the defenders fell back, refusing to yield. Each time the Romans surged forward, carving a path through corpses and rubble. And then, the temple itself came into view. To the Jews, it was the holiest place on earth, the dwelling of God. To destroy it was unthinkable, to lose it was unbearable, as even Titus, for all his ruthlessness, is said to have hesitated. He wanted the treasure, not the ruin. But war has a will of its own. In the chaos of battle, a torch was thrown. Flames leapt up the walls. Gold melted, dripping into the cracks of the stones. And soon the temple burned like a beacon against the night. What they found next changed everything. When the fires died, the Romans uncovered riches beyond imagining. Gold, silver, sacred vessels, the treasures of the temple seized as plunder, carried back to Rome, paraded through the streets in triumph, engraved forever on the arch of Titus. The holy became a trophy, the sacred became spoils. And yet the most valuable part was still missing, because no amount of gold could erase what the world had just witnessed. A people starved, crucified, enslaved by the tens of thousands. A city leveled, its stones scattered. A temple that had stood for centuries, reduced to memory. For the Jewish people, it was the greatest tragedy of their history. For Rome, it was the ultimate demonstration of power. And for the world, it was a warning carved into time itself. But the story wasn't over yet. Jerusalem's fall didn't end resistance. Revolts flared for decades. The dream of freedom never died. And centuries later, the memory of that fire would ignite new movements, new faiths, new battles. The ashes of 70 AD became the soil of a new world. And yet, one haunting question remains. Did Titus truly mean to burn the temple? Or was it an accident of chaos and rage, twisted by history into inevitability? No one knows. Perhaps no one ever will. But here is what we do know. If you think Rome's greatest secrets have all been revealed, you haven't been paying attention. Subscribe and join us on the next journey into the disasters that shaped history.